What if I told you that once you leave the narcissist, the life that you would have would be incredibly rewarding? Imagine that. It's important to note that the healing process after leaving a narcissist is a linear process. So there are things that can happen that can put you in a setback, but those setbacks are really temporary. They don't last that long, but you will continue to thrive. This is going to be a video that's going to be full of hope. And if you have been contemplating leaving a narcissist and wasn't quite sure whether that was something you wanted to do or what you had to look forward to, well, I'm going to give you some tips on how life can look like after you leave the narcissist. My name is Fawzia Shah. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be about how life looks like after you leave the narcissist. Let's get started. So the first thing that you're going to feel once you leave, once you have that exit strategy and you've decided you wanted to leave, and you actually follow through, the first thing you're going to experience is relief from that constant mental argument, this mental back and forth, the gaslighting, the manipulation, the control, the trauma bonding, all of that was going on through the years or during the relationship, had you also tied into your ego. And so you lived more in your head, in your mind, more so than you lived through the self. So once you leave, you're going to experience, perhaps after a long time, you can hear the birds, you can hear the wind whistling and rustling. You can actually hear sounds of nature that you never heard before. Or if you heard them before you got involved with the narcissist. And you will wake up feeling so joyful and so peaceful and so content. And many times I hear that the person feels very sad that they put up with so much for so many years, and nothing they did was good enough. That they were made to feel like they did not matter, that their existence did not matter. Yet it was their existence that the narcissist needed, because otherwise the narcissist wouldn't even be there, because they have to have someone to elevate them, to put them on a pedestal, give them attention, validate them, admire them. So you were that person and you were significant in their life, but this is how they manipulate you into believing that you're nothing. So when you leave and you wake up the next morning, you're going to feel relief and just peace and content. The healing process begins. Now, the healing process is a crucial phase after you leave the narcissist, because this is going to actually include for you to start addressing the emotional scars. All the pain and suffering that you went through for years, you're going to have to address those. And highly recommend going to a therapist and actually working through the trauma, because that's what you suffered, trauma. And the other is reclaiming your independence. Yeah, That's right. If you wanted to sleep at 10 o'clock, you could. If you wanted to go for a walk, you could. If you wanted to have whatever you liked, you could. You could go shopping. You could call your friends, reconnect with your friends. Back again with your friends and family, calling people up, going places, doing things. You don't need anyone to give you any permission to do that. You're independent and you can do that all for yourself. Whatever makes you happy. That does not mean being selfish. I hear this a lot from my clients in their sessions that, I don't want to be selfish. Well, you possibly cannot be selfish because when you're taking care of your own self, that's not selfish. That is important. You must take care of yourself. Otherwise, you cannot take care of anyone else. You have to put the oxygen mask on you first so you can be there for other people. And this is something very hard for people to actually believe that they need to take care of them first. And I think it's the conditioning that has happened over time that when you think about yourself or you do things for yourself, you're being selfish, but actually it's not, it's selfless. And it is very important that you do take care of yourself. And also it's good to consider the source. Where did you first learn that taking care of yourself or thinking about yourself or your needs and your wants is selfish? So you have to consider the source. The other one is, like I said, reconnecting with your loved ones, family, friends, taking time out or just calling them up and saying, hey, what's somebody doing? Let's do something today. It doesn't matter who reaches out to who, because remember, it's essential for us to connect with other beings. And so this is something you have to initiate. And if someone does not reciprocate, then you can always, leave that person, you don't have to keep trying. You can move on to other people that were very responsive to when you called and said, hey, I want to just hang out. And they responded back. Those are the people that you want to hang out with more, and family as well. And then also self-discovery, discovering what you like, what you don't like, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, who am I? And self-discovery starts with discovering the self, the inner self, the true self, the sense, a self that is consciousness and awareness. And you have to discover that in order for you to actually recognize your self-worth. Because if you've been with a narcissist, you know that there is no self-worth to speak of because they have ripped it apart. And the way they ripped it apart is not by actually hitting you, which in some cases there's physical abuse, but I'm talking about how they belittled you, how contemptuous they were, and they were getting you into this ego fight. In other words, you were tangled in with their ego. It was your ego that was looking for solutions or trying to figure out how you can avoid the next attack. And they were preparing on how they're going to do the next attack to really break you down. Sounds familiar? If you do, leave a comment for me. I would love to hear about this, because this is the game that gets played between the narcissist and their victim. So here we go. So we are going to reclaim ourselves. We're going to do self-discovery. And then it is very important to start trusting again. And, if you've been through trauma in childhood, it's going to be very hard to trust. Now, in some cases, people that have suffered from trauma will trust too much. And in some cases, not trust at all. So you have to find that balance. You have to really discover who you can trust and who you cannot trust. So you have to start trusting yourself by discovering yourself, and then learn who to trust and who not to trust. And let the voice from the self actually guide you on that process. Listen to that voice. Deep listen. That's what I say. And then improving your mental health and your emotional. That also comes from getting out of your mind and getting into yourself. Being in the here and now, being in the present moment, and enjoying whatever this moment has brought for you, being right present for that. Embrace it, accept it, live it. Every moment. Setting healthy boundaries. Going back to what I said, the self is very protective of itself. Not in a bad way. It's very protective of everyone else around them. So it doesn't come from a place of wanting to hurt someone. It comes from a place of connectedness with life. So that is what you are going to discover, so you can connect with others without any judgment, like I said. The most important thing is going to be when you are emotionally and mentally in a good place, is because the self is the one that's making the decisions, or the decisions are coming through the self. And then you gain a new perspective on a new way of being, living life through yourself. And that would be, and so building time over time, building relationships, getting to know you, getting to know your environment, be present with that. But life only gets better once you leave the narcissist. Because when you were living with the narcissist, every day was filled with some sort of pain and suffering. Gaslighting, trauma bonding, manipulation, emotional exploitation, control. Once you free yourself from that, you can start to build some healthy relationships with healthy people. And you will know, because self will gravitate towards people that are very much in the present, here and now, and are also living through the self and not through their ego. If you have experienced any of these good things when you left the narcissist, I want to hear from you. I would like to engage you in a conversation, put a comment or two for me. And if you like this video, please hit the like, subscribe to my channel, and I am wishing you the best. Thank you.